Alright, this one for you. Yeah, you. Nigga asked me, how could you wear pistols and crystals? Let me break this shit down for you. Alright, first, Google health benefits of quartz crystals. Right. Amplify energy, boost the immune system, improve concentration and memory, and more shit, right? Alright, now Google electrical benefits of quartz crystals. Right. Frequency stability, temperature stability, piezoelectric effect, mass sensor. But let's go back to that. Piezoelectric. Now, if you read, it say piezoelectricity is the ability to use crystals to make energy by converting mechanical stress into light. You see that? It's several different ways, like rubbing two crystals. Alright, let me show you this. Alright, check this out. Clear quartz, amethyst. Quartz come out like this, clear quartz. Amethyst grow like this. See that? Now I'm gonna take these two and rub them. Put it right there so y'all can see. Alright. Check this out. See the light? It's called piezoelectricity. Free energy for some rocks that go on the ground. Alright. Now, the second way of getting the energy from here, just taking the copper hammer and smacking it. Alright? Come to find out, using this clear quartz and smacking it with a copper hammer is the ways watches are made. That's why they call it quartz watches. Look at this shit. Alright. Think I'm lying? Google what electronics uses piezoelectricity. Right. Smartphones, med equipment, wearable tech, quartz watches, solar tech, security alarms, aerospace, TVs, cameras, barbecue grills, fuel injectors, even more. Alright, if piezoelectricity too much for you, just Google what electronics has quartz crystals in it. Look, smartphones, watches, clocks, radios, TVs, computers, electric vehicles. Look at that, wristwatches, radios, all that shit. See, now Google, how many crystals are in the human body? Now ask yourself, if these crystals came out the dirt, and the Bible told you God made you from dirt, wouldn't you and these crystals have the same electrical properties? This is why you shock people when you touch them, because you're electric, right? Now, for rubbing these make electricity, and to get the electricity out of here, you use copper, right? Copper wires. If you're electric, like these, wouldn't it be smart to put those stones on you between copper wire? Because every time they bang, it makes that light, electric vibration. So wearing the crystal shit, it's making energy. It's amplifying. Right? Now when you research vibrating copper, it's how the radiator work in your car. Watch this shit.
500 pounds of copper for tubing and fins. It's here where copper demonstrates another of its unique properties. It conveys heat better than almost any other metal.
Copper is used because it has such a high thermal conductivity. The heat in the water, which comes from the engine, is transmitted to the copper, which sets up lattice vibrations, which moves through from the water side of the copper radiator to the air side and is transmitted out.
Did you know the green that's on roofs, mostly on cathedrals and shit, was copper?
Quickly. It can take 10 years or more for the signature copper green, called patina, to form.
Patina is actually a crystalline structure that builds onto the surface of the copper. After several months of wet weather, the surface will be a pretty uniform brown, and it is stable in that color for up to 10 to 15 years. And then you will start seeing a very slight hint of the green building.
For those who just can't wait, there's a way to accelerate nature's pace. Coppersmiths can apply ammonium sulfate or other oxidizing chemicals that speed up the patina process considerably. Bright copper ages within minutes. But the stately green color of a weathered copper roof isn't the only reason homeowners invest in copper roofing.
Properly installed standing seam copper roof in 16-ounce copper will last 100 years. You can install a roof and not think about it for another 100 years versus an asphalt shingle, which might go 15.
But you'd better have a fat wallet. A copper roof for an average-sized house could set you back as much as $30,000.
Copper has proven its durability because we can look at the cathedrals in Europe from hundreds and hundreds of years ago where that same copper on the roof exists today.
The chemical process that causes copper roofs to develop a patina coating is the reason they last so long.
Patina is nothing more than what we would refer to in iron as a rust. And what it does, it forms a barrier between the atmosphere and the base metal to give us a protective coating.
Ships. Did you know they full of copper?
Approximately 500 miles of copper cable on board this ship that is used to distribute electricity for the low voltage systems, and then our high voltage systems that run at 6,600 volts, which is used for the propulsion system to drive the ship through the water.
But copper is used for much more than just the wiring of these vessels.
We utilize copper in the paint on the bottom of the ship to prevent marine fouling. We use copper inside the ship in alloys to pipe seawater systems and prevent corrosion on those seawater systems. And we use copper also in the propeller as an alloy to ensure a long service life of the propeller.
Copper is the metal of choice for any part of the ship that comes in contact with the sea. Because of one of copper's most valuable properties, its resistance to saltwater corrosion.
Did you know they became copper from Paul Revere? History.
Not iron.
When the ship was built in Edmund Hart Shipyard in 1794 to 1798, they sheathed the bottom of the hull of the ship with copper. This original copper, when she was built, was supplied by Great Britain. We actually imported it. Paul Revere actually supplied the original copper bolts and fasteners on board the ship during construction.
In 1803, when the sea-worn vessel came to port for repairs, Paul Revere decided it was time to make copper sheeting in America.
When the Constitution was refurbished in 1803, Paul Revere, thanks to help from the government plus his own money, developed a rolling process in Canton, Massachusetts, and rolled the copper. So the second sheathing of the Constitution was done by Revere metal, Blue Revere metal, made in this country.
Did you know these sculptures? It's copper too. Check this out.
Today, copper is all around us.
Everything that you touch during the course of the day will have copper in it or have some connection to copper. We have copper in our phones, copper in our computers, we have copper in our bodies.
Copper is vital to our modern way of life. It's used in electric motors, it's used in copper tubing. It's used in copper wiring. Without all of these things, society would not be at the level that it's at. It's one of the building blocks of making our world as industrialized as it is.
Beyond copper's ability to resist corrosion, kill bacteria, and conduct both electricity and heat, it's also beautiful. In some applications, its veneer is the focal point, such as in sculptures and roofing.
Did you hear them say that the Egyptians was using copper? And then by flaw they made bronze? Look at this.
By about 3600 BC, the demand for copper increased, for use in items as disparate as jewelry and arrowheads. The naturally occurring deposits on the ground became scarcer. But the ancient Egyptians discovered a process called smelting, which separated the metal from the mineral ore in which it was embedded.
The very earliest forms of smelting would simply have been taking the metal and heating it up over a fire that was sufficiently hot for the metal to melt, and the smelting would occur naturally by the burn off of some of the impurities. By trial and error, the civilizations later realized that you could add certain things to that molten metal which would cause the impurities to be removed preferentially. If you add an addition like charcoal, which is basically carbon, then what might happen is that the carbon would combine with the oxygen in some of these impurities, and that would burn off as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, leaving the unoxidized metal behind.
At about 3000 BC, the ancient Egyptians inadvertently created a completely new metal when some tin was mixed in with the copper.
Copper and tin makes bronze, and that's the root of the expression, the Bronze Age, the period in which people were starting to work with these materials and to make an ever more complex range of artifacts out of these metals.
Did you know copper is recyclable like plastic?
About 1.5 million tons of scrap copper are recycled every year.
Copper is one of the metals that is 100% recyclable. Most of the copper and copper alloys that you have around you today are recycled from previous copper applications. You could be using copper tube in your house today that has recycled material from the jewelry that Cleopatra wore years ago.
Recycled copper can be used for almost anything except for electrical wire, because refining the metal back to near 100% purity isn't cost effective. One of the big consumers of recycled copper is the plumbing industry. Plumbers frequently choose to install copper pipe because it's naturally corrosion resistant. It frequently outlasts the building in which it's installed.
Did you know copper clean water? That's why they made pipes of them. But now they switched to plastic. I wonder why.
Modern plumbers weren't the first to notice copper's plumbing potential.
The Egyptians produced some of the earliest copper plumbing. What they probably didn't realize is that in addition to having a material that they could form into plumbing pipes, they were actually purifying their water at the same time, and that the antimicrobial properties of the copper were killing bacteria and contaminants within the water.
Today, copper's antimicrobial properties have compelled medical experts to study the metal's potential.
We understand that through research, ongoing research, that it has the ability to kill certain pathogens. In a situation where it was with copper, you would see over a very short period of time that the copper would not allow the bioload or that product to grow. It would actually bring it to an end.
In the near future, copper may be showing up in hospitals on doorknobs and handrails to stop the spread of bacteria, such as Staphylococcus and E. coli.
You know, the bells and the organs in the cathedrals was copper.
This is the World Peace Bell. 12 feet high at 66,000 pounds. It's the largest swinging bell in the world. Located in Newport, Kentucky, it was built to commemorate the turn of the millennium. Like most bells, it's made of a copper alloy, often referred to as bell bronze.
The World's Peace Bell is made of 80% copper and 20% tin. The reason bells are made of 80% copper and 20% tin is the quality of sound. Up until around 1600, they experimented a lot with different copper, zinc, tin, and it was determined that the combination of 80% copper and 20% tin produced the best sound.
Statue of Liberty. That green. It's because it's copper, motherfucker.
Bronze for its beauty and durability. Some statues are cast using a process similar to the one used to make bells. But other statues, including America's most revered of all, the Statue of Liberty, are made with pure copper.
It looks like it could be a solid piece of copper, but it's not. Inside is an iron tower that was designed by Eiffel, and that is what is referred to as an armature. It's a fairly complex support structure that holds the skin of the Statue of Liberty.
Lady Liberty's skin was sculpted from over 160,000 pounds of pure copper sheet. Before the skin could be riveted onto the iron armature, each of the 300 plates were hammered into shape using an ancient metal smithing technique called repoussé.
Did you know they was planning on tagging niggas with copper? Yeah, tagging them, keeping an eye on motherfuckers. Look at that shit.
In the near future, one new copper alloy may be showing up in a tag sewn into your clothing and attached to almost all of the products you buy. Engineers are working on a mixture of copper, nickel, and silicon that will maintain copper's conductivity, but will also be strong enough to support tiny antennae, only 35 microns thick. That's 1/10 the thickness of a sheet of paper. An antenna embedded in a tag will transmit information about you or a product to a computer to inform the retailer about your consumer preferences or the status of its inventory.
I don't know. Well, yeah. One.